pre-testosterone. This is my voice 1 month on T, and I am 2 months on T.
Hi, my name is Benjamin, and I am 5 months on T. 6 months, half a year on T. I am 7 months on T, and I am 8 months on T. And I am 9 months and 1 week on T. This is me. 10? It's July 20th, I can't count. 10 months onto the whole 10 months shy a day in testosterone. You can see that my face looks like Braille. Hi, this is Benjamin, and I am 11 months on T. And I am 1 whole year on T.
Hi, my name is Ben, and I am 1.5 years on T.
Hey guys, it's your boy Benjamin, and today I wanted to talk about my 1.5-year T anniversary. Today is March 24th, my anniversary was on March 21st, today's Thursday, my anniversary was on Monday, so I'm a little bit late, but that's okay. And I want to talk about it, especially because somebody gave me a very nice comment on one of my videos, and they basically said, hey, you're not making trans videos so much anymore, and you know, I'd kind of like to see more of that. And I really appreciate the feedback, I really do, and so that's why I'm here. This is gonna be in 3 parts. The changes that I've kind of noticed, there's not really many of them, but just a couple of things. My shot, I wanted to talk about my shot a little bit, and this isn't really related to like testosterone as much, but stealth, because I'm stealth at school. And just kind of the pros and cons of that and what my experience being stealth has been like. Okay, so changes. 1 is my voice. I didn't really notice at first, or right around the 7th, 8th, 9th month mark, I didn't really notice any more changes to my voice at all. The changes were super subtle. I mean, going back, you saw my testosterone thing at the beginning of this video. It was so subtle that I didn't really notice it that much. I mean, you can see that there's a change there, but I didn't really notice it until I was like, oh, okay, when I looked at the videos. So my voice is definitely, it's lower. I don't know if it's still gonna be changing. I might do like a 2-year T anniversary and see if there's much of a difference, but I doubt there's gonna be any more significant changes at this point. And another thing about my voice, which isn't necessarily related to how deep it is, although it might be sort of related, is that before I went on T, I could sing, I could scream, I could do whatever I wanted, and I would not lose my voice. Like, it was fine the next day. Maybe I would lose it for about an hour or so, but the next morning I was completely fine. But now I go to a concert and I'm out of commission the next day. I mean, I can talk, but you can definitely tell that my vocal cords are strained. I did a musical recently, and towards the end, I'm still trying to recover actually just a little bit. Today is a week from opening night, so it opened a week ago. Wait, is that right? No. Wait, yeah. Holy cow, time is weird. Yeah, it opened a week ago, and I'm still, like, I was coughing today. It's not COVID. My voice is just exhausted. I did have a cold as well, so that's part of it. Don't sing unless you absolutely have to with a cold. It's a bad idea. Personal experience. Yeah, so my voice, it goes away very, I don't want to say easily now, but it goes away, and it didn't before. So I don't know if voices on testosterone are more vulnerable to that, or maybe it's just me getting older, but it was just, it's a thing that happened, and it's a little bit weird. One thing that also has happened is that, and I didn't notice this because it was also very subtle, right? But from pre-T into a year on T, my hip area, generally a lot of fat went away from there, because like when I would gain weight at all, it would go into my hips, and now like it's more distributed, if that makes any sense. Like there's still like weight in my hip, but like not as much. I don't think I have any pictures to show that because I don't really take full body, I don't really take pictures of myself at all. I have more pictures of my dog on my phone than I have of me. Yeah, it was definitely, just as well as like pants fit me better now. Well, not really better, they actually are very loose now, but my hips have definitely slimmed a little bit. That also could be, and I'm not sure which is more at fault for this. When I came home from my boarding school, I lost a bunch of weight. I was not eating well there. The vegetarian options were very, very slim. And I would just have like broccoli for dinner and that's it. And although broccoli is good for you, it's not healthy to just eat that for dinner like every single night. In general, I just wasn't eating well. I wasn't really exercising. So I came home and I walk to school a lot of days. I walk home a lot of days. I eat healthier, and so I lost a lot of weight as well. So I don't know if my hips slimmed down just because I lost more weight or because the weight went to different places. That's kind of up to debate. So a lot of this is like, I don't know if it happened because of tea or if it's because of another factor, but it did happen while I've been on tea. So, you know. Another thing is that this is actually just since my year video that this kind of happened. You can kind of see I'm developing sideburns, which is very nice. I need to learn how to shave. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. These are still from when I got a haircut last, and the lady asked, "Do you want me to shave your sideburns?" And I was actually like, yes, because they were getting very long and annoying, and I wanted to like rip them out. Not because I don't want sideburns, but because they were just long and annoying. So that is a thing that has definitely happened, and I'm getting a little bit of hair here, like darker hairs. I've had like little wispies here-ish for a while, but there's like 2 or 3 darker hairs here, which are gonna take obviously a million years to actually like be anything. But that was actually surprising to me because I didn't think, especially at my age, that I would get that at only a year and a half on T, but I mean, it's happening, so I guess it does sometimes happen. So that is a welcome change, but I also need to learn how to shave now, which kind of sucks, and I don't even know how to operate a razor. I mean, I assume it's not that hard, but I never even shaved my legs. I never even got to that point, so I've never even held like a razor, so I don't know what's going on. So I'll need to do that. But that is definitely a welcome change. I definitely feel myself being stronger. I don't really work out that much. I mean, I go on walks, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, I definitely feel myself being able just stronger. Things take less effort. If I have to pick something up, it takes less effort than I thought it would, even though I don't actually work out, which I was told would be something that happens. And then also shoulder acne. I know a lot of people, well, it's not actually acne. I don't know what really constitutes as acne, but just blemishes, pimples, blackheads, stuff like that. I've heard a lot of people, their like face acne gets a lot worse on testosterone. That didn't really happen with me. It stayed about the same, which is not great. Like it wasn't good before testosterone, and it's about the same level of not good on testosterone. But I did develop a lot of shoulder acne, and so that isn't great. Obviously, it stops about here, which is where sleeves go, so it's not really visible. It's not a super big deal, but it definitely has developed on testosterone. So, and a little bit on my back, but on my shoulders especially. That's pretty much it as far as testosterone changes go. Not really much has changed. The sideburns are the biggest thing since a year. My chest is about the same. I talked in my year video that my chest, my Montgomery glands is what he called them on my nipples are still active, which you can go and search that up, or you can watch my other video for me to go more into depth. That's still happening, but it's honestly not really an issue. It's just a thing, not a really good thing, not really a bad thing. It's just kind of a thing. So if you want more information on that, you can go and look up Montgomery glands or watch my other video. I'll probably insert a card. I don't know where it's gonna be, but card. And yeah, so I'll show a picture here of my chest. There it is. And so you can see that, you know, it's pretty much the same at a year and at a year and 6 months. Not really much to talk about there. Okay, so my shot now. I do subcutaneous shots, which means that they go in the fatty areas of my body, which that means my stomach, that means the top of my butt. I can do it in like the fatty area of my arm here. Technically, I can also do them in the fatty area of my leg, but I've never done it because I don't want to. I had a nurse at my boarding school teach me how to do the shots, and she never actually taught me how to do it in my legs, so I've just kind of not done it there ever. And honestly, I don't really like doing them in my arms either because I have to like do this to be able to get it in there, and I just don't really like that much. So that's what I do. I got these on Amazon. It's a syringe. It holds 1 milliliter, and these are the needles that I use. This is an 18 gauge needle. It's pretty big. Because the testosterone is a little bit more thick. I need this to be able to draw it up, and they're nice and color-coded. If you're a little bit colorblind, it might not be the best thing for you, but this is the 24 gauge one. This is the one that I actually use to insert. You can see it's really, really, really tiny, so it doesn't really hurt if you do it right. Yeah, so this is what I use. I have alcohol pads, obviously. You can get all of this on Amazon, by the way, or if you don't want to support Amazon, usually I think your doctor can supply these with you with your testosterone medicine. I would ask. Or you can also get them, I think, at some pharmacies. You might not be able to get them at all pharmacies, but you can get them at some pharmacies. And depending on what kind of testosterone you're on, the sizes of the needles might change. But just go with your doctor. To go with what your doctor says. I'm 15. Don't listen to me in any seriousness, by the way. This is all like my experience for somebody who is like just wondering. Don't take any of this and say, oh yeah, I'm gonna do that now. I'm not a doctor. I'm 15. I'm a teenager. Please don't listen to me. Does this say my name on it? No, it doesn't. This is an empty testosterone bottle. It's, I guess, vial, I should say. Real tiny. You can see there. I keep all my old ones and I put them in a jar. So that's where I got this from. You can see at the top here, I don't know how close I'm holding these. I hope this is a good focus. There's like little holes on it. And so it has a resealable top, which is a special type of rubber where if you stick the needle in, you pull it out and it'll like reseal itself. It'll close in over it. So if you turn it over, it won't drip. And so I'm gonna just do a little bit of a demonstration. Obviously, after touching these, after having touched my phone, after having touched my laptop, I'm not going to use these. I hate to have things go to waste, but I figured this was a good use for it. So obviously this is after having washed my hands. I keep a thing of Lysol wipes on my bathroom counter, and I wipe down the counter before I do this. Be very clean. Make sure to wash your hands. If you wash your hands and then touch your phone, wash your hands again. Just when in doubt, wash your hands. I open this, and you can see all the little numbers on it. I do 0.4 milliliters at this point. We might go to up 0.5 soon, but I kind of doubt that. And that just is depending on your body, on a bunch of factors. And again, if you're watching this, please never, ever, ever go above what your doctor says. Your doctor knows your blood work, knows your blood, knows you, I hope. And trust me, they are doing what is best for you. And if they're not, I guess try to get a new doctor. Because if you put too much testosterone in your system as well, it will turn back into estrogen. So definitely don't want that. So this is my 18 gauge. I put this on first, and notice how I am holding it like this. I'm not actually touching any part of it. So when I do this, it'll screw on, and then and this is trash. So this is what I use. And again, my hands are clean at this point. And so usually at this point, I put this down on the wiped counter. I will take my vial, and I do this whether I open it for the first time and especially if it's been used before. I usually get maybe 2 or 3-ish uses out of one of these with my 0.4. I'll take and then you gotta clean the top. I'll make sure I always clean the top. And then I take the wrapper of this and I usually just put it on top of there, and put that down because I will use that again. And that might also be wrong. This is just going off of what I was taught. And then I take this, I unscrew it, and then I already fill it up with air up to the 0.4 mark. And then when I put it in here, you put it in like this, and then you turn it, and then it'll go. There's still a little bit in there, but I'm not actually gonna draw it out. So you push the air in first, and then you draw out 4 milliliters of the testosterone again, and then imagine testosterone actually went in there. Take that out. Now you're done with the vial. I usually put mine back in a box. Mine comes in little boxes. I put the box in. I shouldn't be waving around the needle like this. I put the vials come in a box. I put the box in a Ziploc bag along with a bunch of syringes and needles, and I like refill it every 6 weeks. So now at this point, my syringe is full of testosterone. It's just air, obviously, but if I were actually doing this, it would be full of testosterone. And so now I unscrew it, and this now goes in my sharps container. You want to always have a sharps container. So this automatically goes in the sharps container. I wouldn't want to put it anywhere else in case I misplace it. And never ever put your needles in the trash. This might be different for different countries. As far as I know, it's not the case in some European countries, but at least in the US, you cannot throw used needles in the trash. So I do the 24 gauge again, and notice how I'm holding it by the wrapper. And with the testosterone, now if you have a needle, if you have a syringe like this, the testosterone will not drop out. If you turn it, the testosterone will not fall out or drip out or anything like that if you turn it like this. So don't be afraid. Obviously, you don't want to be waving it around, but turning it like this to screw it onto the needle, you won't lose any. And even if you did lose a drop or two, it's fine. You won't die. So here's now the finished product. Imagine testosterone again is in here. If you do get, when you're drawing it up, if you do get one or two tiny little bubbles, it's fine. I heard something somewhere that said if you get like a little bit of bubble, then you'll have a heart attack or something like that, or you get a stroke or something. That's not the case. Your bloodstream has oxygen in it. It will absorb a certain amount of air. Now, you don't want to fill this whole thing up and inject air into your bloodstream. That's a very bad idea. But if you get one or two tiny little bubbles in there, it's fine. Obviously, you want to try to have as little bubbles in there as possible because air actually kind of hurts when it goes in, and you don't want it to hurt. And then also, any air in there is taking away from the testosterone that could be in the place of that air in here. So if you have too many bubbles, you're not getting your correct dose. But I digress. So this is it, and then I uncap this. Sometimes what I will do is, well, you gotta clean the area first, so I swipe myself. So I'm just gonna use my hand as an example, and I never ever do it in my hand. Oh my, that would hurt so much. But what I sometimes do is, if I have to psych myself up for it, I'll do this, just to make sure I know where I'm going, make sure I'm putting it in. Sometimes depending on what you're told, again, I'm 15, don't take any of this completely to heart, okay? Sometimes I've been instructed to do it in a 45-ish degree angle. I always put mine straight in. But yeah, sometimes I'll just do this, and you don't want to put it in super slowly. That gives room for moving it and making it hurt more. It's better to just, obviously not too much, but imagine you're like throwing a dart, but very, very lightly. You don't want to have too much force towards it, because that's also not a good idea. But just a little dart, a little light dart, and then you push it in and take it out, put a Band-Aid over it, and that's it. That's basically it. That's how I do my shots. If you're doing something in an area for the first time, it might hurt a little bit more than if you do it in the weeks afterwards, because the tissue there isn't used yet to getting pushed around by foreign substances. Especially if you're doing it for the first time, it's like, what is this? But once it kind of gets used to it, it becomes, I guess, a little bit more elastic. At least this is what the nurse at the school told me. If I'm wrong on any of this, please tell me. Am I missing anything? I don't think so. That's basically it. It's pretty simple. You get into the hang of it pretty quickly. Again, you want to put your needles in a sharps container, especially in the US. Everything else can go in the trash. It kind of hurts a little bit that none of this is recyclable, but what can you do? Stealth versus not stealth. Yes, this is kind of important. I'm stealth at school. At home, obviously, I am not. Very few people at school know that I am actually trans. And those are like my very close friends and people that I've chosen to tell. There are as well some people from my old school that go to there, but they're very discreet about it and they're generally cool about it. Or I just never ever talk to them, and so they have no reason to talk about me. And so obviously there are some very obvious benefits to being stealth. You don't get any comments, the very obvious side of people not knowing you're trans. There's also the fact that I don't feel like I have to overcompensate for anything. For example, at my old school, I felt like I always have to stand a certain way, or else people will look at me and be like, yeah, of course he stands that way because he used to be a girl. That makes complete sense, and I did not want that at all. And so I would overcompensate for masculinity, or overcompensate for anything but femininity in order for people to see me as a guy more. And I found myself, which is honestly one of the biggest things for me, not worrying about that so much. And this is also a me issue, not really a people issue, but I found myself just really not having to worry about that much. I can stand however I want without worrying that people might think, oh, well, of course he does that because he used to be a girl or something like that, And so that is really nice. Oh yeah, and then one more thing is that I'm involved a lot in the arts at my school. I mentioned I was in a musical recently, and I was casted as one of the main characters in that musical who is male. And I was very happy with the role. The role was a little bit uncomfortable just because he's a very eccentric character, but that's okay. And I know that if I had been out as trans, I would wonder if I actually deserved that role. And by that I mean I would wonder if my drama teacher only cast me as that role because she wanted the inclusion point. To be able to say, oh yeah, of course I'm inclusive. Look, I casted this trans person in my musical. Look at that. Look how great that is. I feel like I actually deserve it more because she doesn't know that I'm trans. Like, I did it based off of my ability, not off of the fact that maybe she just wanted that inclusion point. And I'm not saying that she would if she knew that I was trans. I'm not saying that she would just cast me as that character because I'm trans. But it would always be in the back of my mind wondering, because you can't just ask somebody, hey, did you only give me this role because I'm trans? And they even if they did, they wouldn't be honest with you, you know? I would hope that she would be honest with me, but probably wouldn't. You know, those are the benefits really to being stealth, and just kind of knowing that people see me as me and not as something else. And again, I live in a very I live in a pretty accepting area, pretty metropolitan. Even if I was out, I don't think I would get anything for it. I wouldn't get many comments or something like that, but there are especially teachers that if they know, and if they're talking about anything related to biology, if they're talking about anything related to gay people, they will look at you the entire time while they are talking. And there's just certain situations that I just personally don't really want to deal with. But it's not all fun and flowers. It's a little bit weird. I'm not gonna say it's bad or it feels bad, but it's just a different thing for me when I actually talk about being trans. Because I never ever talk about it when I'm at school because nobody knows except for my friends. And even then, they're very aware that I'm not out at school. And so if they do talk about it, it's in like a passing comment when nobody's gonna hear it or something like that. And so talking about it, even with myself, is just a different thing because I don't really talk about it. It's just something where I do my shot every Monday and then I kind of move on. I still have dysphoria, but it's not nearly as bad as it used to be. I would say the euphoria it definitely does outnumber the dysphoria by this point. So even that, it doesn't super affect me on a day-to-day basis other than passing glances like, huh, you know? It doesn't really affect me, which I am infinitely grateful for, by the way, and I realize my privileged position in this. I'm infinitely grateful for the fact that it doesn't really affect me in my day-to-day life, but that means when I do actually talk about it, I almost feel a little bit like an imposter, a little bit like imposter syndrome. Like, am I actually trans enough because I haven't gone through many of the struggles that many trans people have gone through? I haven't gone through a high school experience being trans. I've gone through high school pretty much as a cis male, a cis gay male. I'm in GSA, but still, that is one of the main things for me is that like nobody knows. So obviously I don't want to go into uncomfortable positions because I am trans, but because I haven't been in those uncomfortable positions, I almost don't feel like I'm trans enough. You know, I was born female and I'm male, but I also haven't had many of the experience that are associated with being trans. So that's a really weird thing for me. There's also a little bit of an isolation factor, especially when I'm at GSA. There are some trans people. One trans person, she isn't super out, but she's my friend and she knows, but no other trans person at the school really knows. And so if we're talking about trans people, trans issues in GSA, or, you know, just generally talking to somebody who is trans, I feel like I almost have to censor myself because, you know, who is this cis guy talking about trans issues? Who does he think he is? Right? Or even, you know, why does this cis guy know so much about trans issues? And I'm not going to say that, like, I know a million things about trans issues and I am an expert in trans issues, but I would say I know more than the average person. Why does he know more about trans issues if he's cis, you know? And so I almost feel like I have to censor myself to not know so much and also not take really much of a stance on much of it, because in their perspective, I don't have any right to talk about this. I'm a cis guy. So that's weird for me, knowing like I am trans, and if certain laws, like the law that is in Texas right now, I mean, I know it's not a law, but the governor said it and some people are prosecuting. But if something like Texas happens in my state, I don't live in Texas, that could be an issue for me. You know, I know I am trans, but I also don't have a lot of the experiences from being trans. And when I'm talking to other trans people, again, I feel like I have to censor myself because I'm not trans. So what right do I have to talk about trans issues? And then there's also the obvious thing that's not great about being stealth is the fear of discovery. You know, I don't want to have anybody find out and then suddenly like, oh my God, did you hear? You know, and it's just, that's always a thing. You know, that's something that you would think is pretty obvious about being stealth, is that you obviously don't want to be discovered unless it's on your own terms. For example, I have a trans flag that I hang up in my room by my bed. And before I told any of my friends, whenever I would have them over, I would always put it away. Because, I mean, I don't have a gay flag out, so why would I have a trans flag? There's some things about it that are just kind of a little bit weird, a little bit uncomfortable. Generally feeling a little bit isolated from the trans community because at school, I'm not a part of it. I'm part of the LGBTQ plus community, but I'm not part of the trans community, which is, it's weird. But yeah, that's basically all I had to say. I hope somebody found this video helpful or entertaining or useful, or I don't know. I hope you enjoyed, is what I'm trying to say. And if you want to see anything from me, the person who gave me that comment that prompted me to make this video, I really do appreciate you. Tell me if you enjoyed it, if you're still around. If you want to see a specific video of me, I probably am not going to do many like trans news videos just because a lot of trans news is generally negative. And I don't really want to focus on that stuff. There's a lot of coverage of that already on other trans channels, and I generally don't really want to cover super negative things here. That's just, I don't really enjoy making videos about that. I want to read it and I want to be educated about it, but I don't really want to, you get what I mean. But if you do want to see anything from me, if you want to see me discuss something about my transness, my experience, if you want to see me play a certain game, if you want to see me react to something, if you want me, whatever, please leave a comment. I read all of the comments. I don't get many of them. So, yeah, just leave me anything and I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.